going on there, guys? We back with another one. Today we got to talk about this argument between Shannon Sharpe and Molly Qerim. They were discussing the New York Giants and the disaster of a season that they've had to start these first few weeks, and more specifically, Daniel Jones and the coach. And Shannon was talking about how players, once you invest a certain amount of dollars in quarterbacks, you know, the coaches is looking at it like it's their livelihood. They will get fired. And anybody that knows professional sports knows that most times when you put a lot of money into someone, unless you're Greg Popovich or Belichick, then you have a chance of getting fired if you're not achieving the level of success that they feel like you should, because they've invested too much into these players. But it was an interesting exchange between Molly and Shannon. And I'm going to let y'all take a look at it, and I'll be back with my commentary. Let's peep it.
Can I add one thing? Can I add one thing?
Sure.
Also, Brian Daboll knows this. My livelihood, my coaching future is in this man's hand. Now, Daniel Jones, this is his third coach. This is his third coach, RG3. You know that, Stephen A. Everybody knows that. And that Brian Daboll's like, you're going to cost me my job because I vouch for you getting this money. We had a great season.
I don't know
Daniel
if I
Jones
agree
is going
with
to get
that.
Brian Daboll fired.
Shannon, I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like Daboll has a lot of respect. What he did in Buffalo, I know Josh Allen looked great this past week, but we saw a step back when Daboll had left. And then also, I think just winning Coach of the Year, I think people are going to separate it. They're not going to blame Daniel Jones' failures on Daboll.
Correct.
Right? No. The coach has got to go. The coach, that's who gets fired.
No. Why does Daboll need to go?
Hold on. So, in other words, you lose. They fire coaches. They don't get rid of $40 and $50 million quarterbacks, RG3.
But they will in this situation because they have 2 years left until they can get out his contract. So they're going to be fully invested, and the guy that got the most out of him was Brian Daboll. What they have to do right now is figure out ways to start games faster. In the first half this year, they're being outscored 77-9. 77-9.
But what is it built to do without Saquon?
Hold on, Shannon, because here's the deal. Shannon's right. I think that, listen, not in terms of, we're not talking about Brian Daboll getting fired this year. What he's saying is that ultimately the head coach is going to be held accountable. Because what happens is, especially, Molly, in the New York market, okay, we love Brian Daboll thus far, okay, but if they continue to look the way that they look, and they got people like Shannon and RG3 dissecting it with a fine-tooth comb and pointing out the litany of errors that have taken place evolving around the quarterback, right? Then you lean on the fact that you told us we should invest this money in this quarterback, but look what the hell is happening. Of course, not right now.
No.
But it like, let's say, for example, if we sitting here next year, and it's the same situation because this season is an atrocity, and then next year starts off equally as bad. At some point, you're gonna look at the coach.
No one ever thought Daniel Jones was that dude. They just didn't have a better option, and no one thought Saquon was going to be hurt. I wouldn't connect Daboll to Daniel Jones at all.
Eventually,
Molly, think about what you just said. They refused to pay Saquon, and now you're saying Saquon being hurt. What does Saquon have to do if Daniel Jones is getting $40 million? He's got to deliver you. He's supposed to be your Moses, not Saquon.
I think they didn't have a better option, and that's why they paid Daniel Jones.
Yeah,
This is my issue sometimes with Molly when she's on the show. It's like, you know, you the moderator, right? You don't need to try to play both roles as a debater and a moderator. And I think she overly does that sometimes. I ain't saying it's wrong for you to give your 2 cents on a given topic at any given moment, but I think she tries to just have her voice heard for no reason. Like, this was between RG3, Stephen A. Smith, and Shannon. And you saw Stephen A. Smith try to smooth it over right there, but sometimes I feel like she toes that line a little too much for my liking. And it's not to say she's not educated, she's not intelligent, but like Shannon and RG3 had a disagreement going on there. For her to inject herself into that conversation like that, and the way she came at Shannon, you said she had attitude. She's like, what? You know, when he called her, he was trying to explain his point, and she got all defensive with him, man. Shannon was really just talking about, in professional sports, how when they put all this money into a quarterback, and he's on the first year of that new contract, the easiest thing to do for the organization financially is part ways with the coach. Daniel Jones, I don't know how much he's guaranteed or whatever, but they're trying to get the most out of him. Maybe in another 2 years, they'll be looking elsewhere. But as of right now, Daniel Jones ain't going nowhere just because they're having a bad season. He struck when he was hot, and that was good. You know, he was hot after that postseason berth, and the way Saquon played last year, it took some pressure off of him. And the thing with him is his game is kind of deceptive because you'll see him run the football. You'll see him, his arm strength. You'll see him make some throws some games, and he looks like a great QB. And then other times it's like, who is this guy that we just paid all this money to? And Shannon is telling you, just from experience, I've been in these locker rooms. I see how the inner workings of the business work, and I still have connections and sources around the league, you know, that tell me stuff just because I'm a part of the NFL fraternity. And for him to undercut Shannon like that, for her to undercut Shannon like that, Shannon wasn't even trying to speak from a place of emotion. He was just talking about in his dealings with the NFL, this is how they handle these matters. And to see her come in and do that, this is why some people get irritated with Molly, man. She does that a lot. She makes a lot out of nothing. And she was irritated looking at Stephen A. That's why I zoomed in when Stephen A. was trying to smooth it over. And when Shannon called her, she was like, what? Like she didn't want to hear what he had to say, but then, you know, quickly straightened up. So, yeah, man, I just wanted to share that with y'all. I saw that exchange live, and I was like, man, something's off about that. Why is she coming at Shannon for sharing his opinion in that argument like that? But she needs to stay mostly moderator, man. Because my thing is, if a conversation goes too far left and you the moderator, then who is the person that's supposed to step in and hold it in the road? You know, you already know you emotional and you fly off the handle sometimes. Why do that? But, hey, let me know what you guys think in the comments about this. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace.